Summary of Defiant, the Skyward series, written by Sanderson. Chapter 1. 5 hours later, the grand stage was set, and Spensa Nightshade stood at parade rest, her chest adorned with a myriad of medals that seemed to have materialized during her absence. The air was charged with anticipation as the ceremony unfolded, and Spensa couldn't help but feel like an ornament, a symbol thrust into the spotlight for a purpose beyond her understanding. Survivor of starfighter battles, escapee from the clutches of a lifebuster bomb, traveler through the mysterious nowhere, and confrontor of the eldritch delvers, Spensa Nightshade had become a legend, a warrior named and known. But she had learned that her significance went beyond her personal feats. She was now a political tool, a pawn in the game of power and survival. The ceremony, rather than celebrating her exploits, was a stage for the ascension of Jorgen Waite to the position of Defiant Defense Force Admiral of the Fleet. With the destruction of the National Assembly and martial law declared, Jorgen found himself not only leading the DDF but also serving as the provisional head of their government. The responsibilities weighed heavily on his shoulders, a burden that only Spensa, having witnessed his breakdown after the loss of his parents, truly understood. As the elder placed epaulets on Jorgen's shoulders, signifying his new rank, the audience erupted in applause. Spensa, positioned on the side of the stage with other distinguished DDF officers like Himmelin and FM, observed the scene with a mix of pride for Jorgen and a lingering sense of detachment. The applause, the medals, and the ceremony were all part of a political charade, a way to project strength and unity in the face of impending threats. Jorgen, with his strong and determined features, accepted the applause with a sense of duty. Spensa could see the strain in his eyes, the weight of leadership he never sought but embraced for the sake of their people. A few days ago, he had broken down, mourning the loss of his parents who were assembly members. The pain echoed in Spensa's soul, a shared grief that connected them beyond the battlefield. The applause gradually subsided, and FM barked an order that snapped the officers on stage to attention. Salutes were exchanged, and Jorgen, now officially the Admiral of the Fleet, strode to the podium to deliver his speech. Spensa, Himmelin, and others snapped to attention, their eyes fixed on Jorgen as he began addressing the gathered assembly. From her vantage point on the stage, Spensa had a clear view of the diverse audience. The Kitsen, standing on floating platforms, emitted chirps of approval through speakers, celebrating the alliance formed in rescuing their long-lost Cytonics. The Erdale, with violet skin and distinctive facial protrusions, were also present in smaller numbers. Among them was Alanik, the Erdale leader, who had become a friend but avoided Spensa's gaze, perhaps still uneasy about her past impersonation. Jorgen, with his newly acquired rank, now held a position of immense significance. He wasn't just leading the DDF, he was the provisional head of the government in these times of martial law. Spensa understood the gravity of the situation, but even with glimpses of what had happened during her absence, she felt like she was playing catch-up. Once the ceremony concluded, FM issued an order, and the officers on stage snapped to attention again. Jorgen returned the salute, and the officers, including Spensa, Himmelin, and FM, retreated backstage. The grand hall, which had been filled with applause moments ago, now felt eerily silent. Spensa, at a loss for what to say to her friends and colleagues, found herself standing alone on the stage. The weight of her experiences in the nowhere, the encounters with delvers, and the unraveling of ancient mysteries pressed upon her. She was a warrior, a survivor, but she also felt like an outsider, struggling to find her place in this new reality. "Hey, Spin," a familiar voice broke through her thoughts. It was Himmelin, with her naturally tight curls and a concerned expression. "You all right? You look distracted." "I'm fine," Spensa replied, trying to brush off the concern. But in truth, she was far from fine. The events of the past weeks had left her grappling with existential questions and a sense of disconnect. "If you need," Himmelin started, but Spensa cut her off unintentionally. "I've gotta hit the head," she said abruptly, an excuse to escape the conversation. Himmelin's expression shifted, a mix of concern and perhaps a hint of hurt, as Spensa made a hasty retreat. Outside the grand hall, Spensa navigated the corridors, her mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. She had seen too much, experienced too much, and the weight of responsibility sat heavily on her shoulders. The realization that she was now an integral part of political machinations, rather than just a fighter in the skies, left her feeling adrift. Unable to face the prospect of more meetings and the complexities of her relationships with those around her, Spensa made a spontaneous decision. In less than 10 minutes, she found herself in the cockpit of a Poco starfighter, hurtling into the vastness of space for a quick patrol. It was a selfish move, she knew. Her absence from the ceremony might spark rumors, but she needed a respite from the suffocating responsibilities and the expectations placed upon her. The thrill of the G-forces pushing her back in the seat, the sight of detritus's rotating platforms above, and the soft blue-gray stone ground below provided a temporary escape. In a moment of exultation, Spensa activated her psionic abilities and hyperjumped toward outer space, just beyond the planet. The sensation of leaving normal space behind, entering the nowhere, was both exhilarating and disorienting. Chet, the delver stapled to her soul, stirred within her, and Spensa couldn't shake the unease about her newfound powers. "I don't know what to make of my new powers," she thought at Chet as they hung in the void, surrounded by darkness. "Yes," Chet replied through thoughts. "You are part delver now. Distance and space are not as relevant to you as they once were." Floating in the nowhere, the place where time frayed like the edges of an old coat, Spensa felt a deeper connection to the delvers. The revelation that they had hidden away parts of themselves, intentionally forgetting their pain, stirred something within her. She believed that understanding these hidden aspects could be the key to the Delva's destruction. However, the concerns about the Delva's fear of her lingered in the back of her mind. As she hyperjumped back to the somewhere, back to her ship outside detritus's shell, Spensa realized the implications of her newfound powers. She was now one of them more than she was one of the humans, a fact that brought a sense of disquiet. Returning to reality, Spensa found herself in orbit around Evershore, the Kitson homeworld. The breathtaking view of the vibrant blue planet, reminiscent of old pictures of Earth, momentarily distracted her from the complexities of her existence. The realization that detritus could move, a colossal battle station capable of hyperjumping around the galaxy. Chapter 2. The meeting on Platform Prime, the nerve center of operations inside detritus's shell, unfolded against the backdrop of looming threats from the superiority. Jorgen, now a key leader, wisely selected the room with the best seats, and Ironsides, the former DDF leader turned Admiral Emeritus, took the floor. The silver-haired woman gestured at a star map on the wall, outlining the region controlled by the superiority in the Milky Way. As Ironsides delved into the strategic intricacies, emphasizing the vulnerability of the superiority due to their control of space but limited military presence, the atmosphere in the room was a mix of tension and focus. The long conference table was filled with a diverse group of leaders, admirals, engineers, and even foreign dignitaries like Cuna, the senior Dione who had become a friend to Spensa during her time as Alanic on Starsight. The narrative voice, presumably belonging to Spensa, offered insights into the character's thoughts and interactions. Jorgen's discomfort in the comfortable bucket-style chair and the cut of his chin showcased the details that Spensa observed, adding a personal touch to the unfolding events. The return of Cobb, the former DDF head, added a layer of nostalgia and concern, especially given his visibly aged appearance following the bomb attack. Grand's presence, the oldest living Defiant, surprised Spensa, highlighting the multi-generational aspect of the conflict against the superiority. As Ironsides presented data indicating the superiority's production capacity, concerns about the enemy's ability to overwhelm them became apparent. The discussion painted a grim picture, emphasizing the urgency of finding a solution before the superiority's industrial might could be fully unleashed. The narrative seamlessly wove in the characters' reactions and emotions, from FM's concern about drone threats to Renakin's insightful remarks about the superiority's conquest strategy. Spensa's thoughts provided a window into the internal struggles and reflections on the current state of affairs. The meeting revealed the complexities of the interstellar conflict, with the leaders grappling with the need to recruit more planets to their cause and the challenges posed by indoctrination and varying technological capabilities. Amidst the strategic discussions, the characters' personal connections and histories added depth to the narrative. Spence's observation of Jorgen's wish for Cobb to still be in command and the reflection on the shortage of experienced officers due to the harsh history of the DDF conveyed the weight of their past struggles. The meeting reached a climactic moment when Spence experienced an uncontrollable outburst of emotions, projecting distressing thoughts to everyone present. The room fell silent, and Jorgen, displaying compassion, suggested a short break. Spensa grappled with feelings of shame and uncertainty about her evolving identity as a powerful cytonic entity. As the meeting concluded, the unexpected voice of Mbot injected a touch of humor, breaking the tension and providing a moment of levity. The narrative expertly blended character development, strategic discussions, and emotional nuances, creating a rich and engaging scene that left readers eager to see how the story would unfold in the face of the superiority's looming threat.